always the entryway to it, but I never got involved in it. I've now met a lot of famous people, and some of them off record will, tell you, yeah, this stuff's real. I've seen it, I've been there. But generally, they just went into the entry-level stuff. So how widespread is it? Because I never seem to think I'm some super special person. I did grow up, in one of the wealthiest areas of Texas, so I saw some of this, but it was everywhere there. I haven't seen as much of it here in Austin. It's more of a new agey type system where they're more just deceived. I mean, I know the occult's here. Dallas was so strong. I've been in other parts of the country and haven't seen it. From your research, what's going on in Dallas, Texas?
Wow, offhand, you got me there. In my Ezekiel 6:3 book, I listed ritual sites all across the United States, but there's a lot of them, and this thing is basically comprehensive across the United States. What surprised me is even in little towns, especially sometimes in little towns, in fact, there are some little towns that the whole population is part of some satanic cult.
Wasn't there a movie called Race with the Devil or something where the whole town's satanic and they see the ritual, so they're getting chased. At the end, they think they've gotten away, but the next town is satanic and they arrest, they kill them? Yeah,
and these things are not totally off base. There's negative truth in these kind of movies. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you about the occult activity specifically in Dallas.
Sure. My point is, did I just mistakenly run into a bunch of this? Or, I mean, I guess you answered it. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And that's so true. And if there is a spot that it didn't exist, why, that would be like the clean spot that had to be dirtied. They would move in to dirty it. So it's pretty systematic. People don't realize how systematic this thing is. I know firsthand from several venues that they have specific people assigned to watch. And let's say there is a genuine, sincere Christian minister, then they target that person. So it's not haphazard how they extend their control, but they are very systematic in watching what's going on everywhere.
Well, that's what I was told when I was about 13, 14, 15. By principals and by people in the community and people walking up to me out of the middle of nowhere in a pretty big sized town. It's like, we're watching you. We're fully aware. And the thing was, I had always gone to church, been Christian, but I was wild, fist fights, everything else. It's almost like that dark energy early on was trying to suck me in. And then my question is this just across the board? Or, as you were saying, it's systematic? Did they recognize that I was going to be a threat to them later?
Well, they are watching. It's most amazing how they're watching in the schools very quietly, identifying the thought patterns of students, seeing what their potential is, which ones might present problems later on. And they do a lot of grooming, setting people up to go certain directions. It's pretty amazing, actually. The extent of how much little puppet pulling they're doing and how much rearranging and structuring they're doing. And even if you're outside of their direct control, they're still trying to manipulate you, like you were saying.
Well, they also sort of death threatening me because I was exposing police drug dealing in the area, which later did come out. Expanding on that, what about the military and the occult? I know we went to West Point when you were young, and in that, did you recognize any of it at the time, or what did you see?
Yes, I did. And West Point's, the daycare center there had a scandal where they had the children being molested, and that ties back in with the mind control one of the things that bothered me about the military, and a lot of other guys in the military that have good hearts confirm this too, is people that were very sadistic, you know, your satanic type mindsets, were the ones that got promotions, even within the class, even within the West Point classmates. And that's disturbing. You know, I went in thinking that somebody who was a good-hearted person like Robert E. Lee was the type of person that's going to rise to the top. But nowadays, that's not the case. Going back to the military, right there in Texas, you've got an deep underground military base at Fort Hood, at Denton, Texas, Red River Arsenal. And those deep underground military bases, which are a severe threat to us, before I went to prison, there was 140 of them. They tie in with occult activities. They tie in with a lot of stuff. These are definitely these underground military bases are definitely places where they're doing things that they want out of sight of the general public.
Let me stop you and back you up here. I've had family, of course, here in Austin since way before I was born, and I've talked to others. There is an admitted underground base under Bergstrom. They admit is there, and then it's now the Hilton, but it was the SAC, Strategic Air Command Base, and there's reportedly, and I've talked to family that's in the military currently, and they won't talk about it. But there's underground bases out there, and it supposedly connects out to the mountains out at Fort Hood. But separately from that, let's take occultism in government. It's on record. Of course, they made The Good Shepherd. Robert De Niro put it out with Matt Damon's in it, where you have this occult group, the guy dressed up like the Grim Reaper with a gold crown on his head, same guy the Mexican cartels worship. It's basically the devil, but the devil in the garb of death. They're really actually worshiping the real devil, not some guy trying to, you know, pour you a martini or something. But, you know, a Grim Reaper with a crown on its head. I mean, you're getting down to from all my deep research, that's who they're really worshiping. The high-level ones actually know what it is. 99.99% of the occultists don't. They think they're given power and all this stuff. They think they're worshiping something like the Roman Bacchus, you know, the god of wine or good times. No, that's for the lower-level porch occultist. But the point is, here you've got the admitted Satanism set up 1832 to counter, you know, what America was set up to be, at least at certain levels. And 1947, they set up, through Skull and Bones, the CIA, and the occultists get this total secrecy and unlimited funding. No wonder they took over at breakneck speed from that point. They're dealing the drugs. They have trillions of dollars, unlimited power, national security, hit teams. They can do whatever they want, Federal Reserve. And then it's admitted an occult group that's been videotaped worshiping the devil by ABC News. And again, that leaked out because God wanted people to have the choice to really see what it was. People dressed up like the Grim Reaper with a skull mask and a gold crown. They're literally worshiping this, the most powerful families in America, and they run the CIA, and they have this whole secret society system they call national security. I mean, we literally have a satanic cult running America. No wonder they're putting cancer viruses in vaccines. I mean, what is their final equation in game? Where is this going? You've got the last 5 minutes, Fritz. You've got the floor.
It's like you said earlier, it's to rob, kill, and destroy the human race, because the people were created by God, and we are a wonderful creation. We are in the image of God. And Satan hates the image of God, and Satan is out to destroy the image of God. And all of this nonsense that you see, you can see the process. You know, people are painting their bodies with tattoos, marking them up, putting what we used to put on the hogs' noses in their noses. We see a infatuation with death. You know, we see the process of where God's beautiful creation, man, is being destroyed and disfigured. And Satan's laughing because he's taking pride in running this beautiful creation of the person his own creator that he hates.
Sure.
That in summary is it. You know, it's not a human agenda. When I look at things and what their agenda is, it's obvious to me that this is not a human agenda. It's against the human race. The human race would not, even people in power would not have such a anti-human agenda.
Well, you're right. And in closing, I want you to speak to this. The fake environmental groups, whatever the globalists do, they create a counter so that when they destroy the environment, they then create groups. As we get upset, we go give our support to try to save the environment, and now we're just supporting their agenda, where they say what plants breathe, carbon dioxide, is evil. Then plants put off oxygen that we breathe. That's evil. Meanwhile, they're splicing all the animals together, GMO, wrecking the planet's genetic code, releasing pharmacological insects that they can't reverse. And I covered it earlier in the show, creating devastating effects, not just on humans, but the planet. And then it's all run by the, quote, environmentalists who think they're playing God. Again, it's an obsession with watching the world burn. Really, that's what they're into. And so then you try to be a real environmentalist with real problems, toxic waste dumping, you know, serious issues, GMO, mercury in the vaccine, destroying our genetic code, pharmacological drugs in the rivers, you know, destroying species. And that's not an issue. They create a fake issue, which is attacking the heart of life, carbon dioxide. You have oxygen, carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. Without those four things, it's all over. They target one and try to reduce it. I mean, it is so amazing what they do. And when you really study it for a long time, you start seeing all the designs. And it's so incredible and so complex, it's hard to articulate to people. It's kind of like that saying of, one cannot be told about the Matrix, one has to see it for themselves.
Yes. Here in Oregon, before I went to prison, I had gone down to Klamath Falls, and the fake environmentalist had said that the suckerfish was becoming extinct. This was a bottom feeder. So hundreds of square miles of irrigation land went dry because the federal government forbid the